Republican voters for the traditional first-in-the-nation Iowa caucuses go non-traditional in a big way, putting two non-politicians into the lead in latest polls. This is Special Report. Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. The new leaders in the latest Iowa polls could not be more different. One is a bombastic businessman who has ridden a straight-talking roadshow to the top of polls around the country. The other is a former neurosurgeon who expresses his thoughts in soft-spoken tones, but also has been slowly creeping up the list of Republican favorites. Donald Trump and Ben Carson sit atop the newest surveys of Iowa Republicans in poll results that were unimaginable just a few months ago. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen has tonight's top story.
If Hillary is the candidate, which I doubt, that would be a dream come true.
After an engaging performance in the primetime Fox News debate, Dr. Ben Carson, the retired neurosurgeon, is surgeon in the polls. The latest Monmouth University poll of likely Republican caucus goers in the early battleground state of Iowa, conducted over the last 3 days, shows Carson capturing 23% and tied with real estate mogul Donald Trump for the lead. Likewise, the latest Bloomberg Politics Des Moines Register poll of likely Republican caucus goers in Iowa, conducted last week, shows Trump leading Carson by 5 points, roughly equal to the margin of error. Pundits race to explain the Ben Carson boomlet.
His anti-politician style, very soft-spoken, funny, humorous, appealing, is really scoring with voters in Iowa. And when you look at the favorability of Trump and of Ben Carson and also of Carly Fiorina, three candidates who've never held public office, I think the voters believe they can more credibly claim that they could clean up the mess in government.
Thank you. I love you too.
Trump trained his sights on Huma Abedin, the longtime aide to Hillary Clinton. Abedin's husband, Anthony Weiner, resigned his House seat after a well-publicized sexting scandal, and Abedin has herself drawn scrutiny for her private consulting work and her email account on Mrs. Clinton's notorious private server. Huma Abedin, the top aide to Hillary Clinton and the wife of perv sleazebag Anthony Weiner, Trump tweeted Monday morning, was a major security risk as a collector of info.
Look, I recognize, Todd, that you love to try to stir up dissension and attacks between Republicans. Well, you're stirring.
Displaying a bit of Trump's pugnacity with the press, specifically Todd Gilman of the Dallas Morning News.
God bless you.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz stumped in New Hampshire for the first time since May. In the Bloomberg poll, Cruz placed a solid third behind Trump and Carson. Hoping to steal or inherit Trump's supporters, Cruz tied recent attacks on police officers to President Obama.
And I do think we're seeing the manifestation of the rhetoric and vilification of law enforcement, of the police that is coming from the top, that's coming from the President of the United States, and it's coming from senior officials.
The last time Monmouth University released a statewide poll in Iowa in mid-July, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker was the front-runner. He's dropped 15 points since then. Today, Walker released a video jabbing at former Florida Governor Jeb Bush for refusing to promise to revoke the Iran deal on his first day in office. In this latest Monmouth poll, Brett, Bush came in 6th, just behind Scott Walker, with all of 5 percentage points.
James, thank you. So what do you think of Carson's surge? Let me know at facebook.com/BrettBaerSR or on Twitter @BrettBaer. You can use the hashtag Special Report. Now to the latest on the Hillary Clinton email scandal. The State Department is releasing thousands of Clinton's communications later tonight from her time as Secretary of State. But right now we have a Fox News exclusive outlining another potential conflict of interest. Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry has the latest from Foggy Bottom tonight.
More turbulence for Hillary Clinton today as State Department officials revealed their latest document dump includes about 150 emails with classified information beyond the 63 they already found. Clinton has said they were not marked classified at the time, and officials stuck to their line. The information has been deemed classified after the fact.
Can you say from that podium categorically that Secretary Clinton followed the rules and the law?
I'm just not going to answer that question. It's not our goal. It's not our function in this regard in releasing these emails.
Then there are revelations from emails the State Department has not yet made public, such as an email obtained exclusively by Fox News, which shows an aide to former President Bill Clinton asked the State Department in August 2012 for permission for the Clinton Global Initiative to accept money from a company that had done business with Iran. Petronas, the government-owned Malaysian oil company, would like to send its CEO, Shamsul Azhar bin Abbas, to CGI as a paying member. Bill Clinton's director of foreign policy wrote on August 9, 2012. For years, they were shipping oil to Iran. Would the CEO attending CGI as a paying member be concerned for USG, he said, in reference to the U.S. government. The email was sent to Cheryl Mills, Hillary Clinton's chief of staff, and she did not say yes or no on money coming in from a company aligned with Iran. Mills replied August 10th, quote, "Can you check the facts? Seems odd they would ship oil to Iran. Either way, is your point that they do business without a waiver?" A reference to a waiver from United Nations sanctions that had been ramping up over Iran's nuclear program when Clinton was leading the charge.
We do not believe that Iran will peacefully resolve this unless the pressure continues.
Petronas, which has these famous towers in Malaysia, announced in March 2012 it would stop importing crude oil from Iran. And Clinton officials note there's no evidence the executive ended up giving CGI money. All of this coming as Democratic Socialist Senator Bernie Sanders keeps surging in Iowa. He's now pulled to within just 7 points of Clinton in the latest Bloomberg Des Moines Register poll.
That is the Obama coalition in Iowa. She is on a trajectory that's dramatically downward.
Meanwhile, Vice President Joe Biden, still mulling whether to enter the race, choked up as he made a surprise appearance at a political event in Delaware his late son used to attend.
I mean this to say thank you.
Now, an advisor to the vice president told me if Clinton drops to 40% nationally, he's more likely to get in. She clearly has a problem since in March she vowed there was no classified information at all in the server, though her team today was highlighting the fact that the prosecutor in General David Petraeus' case came out and said the difference in that case is he knowingly violated the law. They will at least try to make the case she didn't know. Brett?
We'll have all those details tonight when they come out. Ed Henry at the State Department. Ed, thank you. Getting on the presidential primary ballot can be a challenge. It's different in every state, and that's why some states are getting a little extra early attention. Donald Trump speaks to thousands.
Wow, wow, wow.
In Mobile, Alabama. Scott Walker rallies supporters in Birmingham.
Wow. The governor of Alabama.
John Kasich touts the endorsement of Alabama's governor. Ted Cruz takes his southern bus tour through Alabama. So why all the focus on Alabama this election cycle? The calendar. We know about Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada, all in February, all marked in red on this map. But it's the March primaries and caucuses that have changed dramatically, all marked in yellow here.
And on March 1st, it's off to the races. You have 13 states that are going to go on March 1st alone. Those states will be awarding their delegates proportionally. A lot of these states that have normally waited till April or May are suddenly going to be having their votes cast in March. It's really going to be a different cycle than anybody's ever seen before. There's 2,470 Republican delegates up for grabs. By the end of March, you're going to have 1,600 of those decided. That really is going to expedite this process.
Not only are many states moved up in the primary process, each of those states has its own filing requirements to get on the ballot.
There are 15 states with ballot deadlines before the end of this year. And once the deadline passes, if you haven't qualified, you're not going to be on the ballot. No one's going to be able to vote for you in that particular state.
New Hampshire's deadline is October 28th. It only requires a $1,000 filing fee to get on the ballot there. But the second state ballot deadline is Alabama's, November 6th.
As a Republican, you have to pay a $10,000 qualifying fee, and you have to have a minimum of 500 qualified, certified voters to be on the ballot.
Which explains the candidates' early Alabama focus.
We've been so excited to entertain so many candidates. As a matter of fact, according to the last Fox poll, 6 of the top 7 Republicans have been in Alabama in the last 9 days. That's unparalleled and unprecedented in the history of the state of Alabama.
Other states in that March primary bonanza have early ballot deadlines as well. Arkansas's is November 9th with a $25,000 filing fee. Virginia's deadline is December 10th. Petitions for signatures are already out. The Commonwealth's requirements are by far the strictest to get on the ballot there, and they've been relaxed since last cycle.
Can you believe that the current restrictions are half of the requirements from 4 years ago? And the reason the legislature cut them in half was because only 2 candidates qualified for the Republican ballot from Virginia, Mitt Romney and Ron Paul. We weren't able to vote for any of the other candidates for president. But even with the reduced requirements, Virginia's still very tough.
It's no small logistical task to get qualified signatures. Several states require thousands of them. And now a few states are trying to make sure Republicans stay Republicans with what's called sore loser laws. Laws mandating that a candidate can't change from running in one party to then run independent and still get on the state's ballot.
All but 3 states in America have what they call sore loser laws. Not all of them have them applicable to anyone running to president, but several states this year have added or have revived a pledge that says that you have to support the Republican nominee.
Virginia, South Carolina, and also North Carolina, and possibly others, are seriously considering making that a stipulation to which the candidates must agree when they file for the ballot. They must support the party nominee. Clearly, it's aimed at Donald Trump, and it's aimed at getting his signature on a paper that has some legal force.
Well, Donald Trump says he wants to run as a Republican and may still make that pledge in coming days. That is a decision that will have to be made before September 30th to make it on the ballot in South Carolina. Up next, law enforcement officers mourning the death of one of their own in Texas say cops' lives matter too. First, here's what some of our Fox affiliates around the country are covering tonight. Fox 5 in New York, where a judge says New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady and NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell have failed to reach a settlement over Brady's 4-game suspension for the Deflategate incident. The judge says he will issue a ruling as early as tomorrow. Fox 26 in Houston with the return of Bluebell ice cream. The company has resumed selling its products in select locations 4 months after shutting down due to listeria contamination. Plants in Texas, Oklahoma, and Alabama underwent extensive cleaning and decontamination.